Russian President Vladimir Putin has accused the United States of aggressively pursuing global military and political dominance, using Ukraine as a means to achieve a strategic defeat for Russia.
We see that the United States of America is trying to maintain its global military and political dominance at any cost. To this end, using Ukraine, they are trying to inflict a strategic defeat on our country. The U.S. is essentially provoking an arms race, disregarding the security of its European and Asian allies, creating the preconditions for a dangerous crisis situation in Europe and the Asia-Pacific region. I want to emphasize that Russia must be prepared for any development of the situation.
As Putin issued his warning, the United States, United Kingdom, France, and Germany have unveiled new sanctions against Iran, accusing it of supplying short-range ballistic missiles to Russia. This move comes after weeks of warnings and is set to target Iran's aviation sector. On Tuesday, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and British Foreign Secretary David Lammy confirmed the imposition of sanctions following the alleged missile transfers. Blinken stated that Russia has received these missiles and is expected to deploy them in Ukraine soon, potentially extending its military reach. The U.S., alongside its European allies, plans to cancel bilateral air services with Iran and impose sanctions on entities linked to Iran's missile program and the transfer of arms to Russia.
The United States will be announcing further sanctions on Iran later today, including additional measures on Iran Air. We expect allies and partners will be announcing their own new measures on Iran as well. Iran's new president and foreign minister have repeatedly said that they want to restore engagement with Europe. They want to receive sanctions relief. Destabilizing actions like these will achieve exactly the opposite.
The U.S. Treasury Department has updated its sanctions list to include 10 Iranian nationals and 5 companies associated with Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Sanctions have also been placed on Iranian airline Iran Air for its role in transporting military supplies from Iran to Russia. The UK has announced a suspension of all direct air services with Iran, while the European Union is preparing its own response, which will require approval from all 27 member states. US has warned Iran of economic repercussion if they fuel the war in Europe.
This is a clear message from the E3 and the United States that if Iran continues to support the war in Ukraine, there will be significant economic costs. The new Iranian president and the foreign minister have repeatedly claimed that they want to engage with Europe and garner sanctions relief. Destabilizing actions like this just fly in the face of that rhetoric and ultimately hurt their own economy.
Iran has consistently denied allegations of supplying weapons to either Ukraine or Russia. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman Nasser Kanani dismissed the claims as false and misleading and criticized Western military support for Israel. Despite this, Ukrainian reports indicate that Iranian-made Shahed drones have been used in attacks on Ukrainian territory. Blinken suggested that Iran's actions could further isolate it internationally, impacting its efforts to seek engagement with Europe and sanctions relief. The sanctions reflect ongoing tensions and a broader geopolitical struggle involving Iran and Russia.
The consequences will be there, and this is at a time when we know from the new Iranian president that they desperately need and want some economic relief, that there's a very heavy burden on the country, and that they're looking for that. This is exactly the opposite way to get what they purport to want: better relations with other countries and some relief from the sanctions that have been imposed on them for their conduct.
Ukrainian officials, including Andriy Yermak, President Volodymyr Zelensky's chief of staff, welcomed the sanctions, but called for more decisive measures. Yermak emphasized the need for increased Western military support, including authorization for strikes deeper into Russian territory and enhanced air defense systems.